The saga comes to an end. Hopefully, at this episode. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Yanek Show, episode 45. I hope that you're doing well and I hope that you're having a great week. Listen, hopefully, this is going to be part 4 out of 4 because something that was meant to be a little 15-minute, 20-minute segment on one of the episodes turned into a 4-episode mini series that probably is going to be picked up by HBO and made into a documentary one day because my high school years were crazy. Okay, the idea I had a few weeks ago is just to talk about, briefly about my teachers and about my high school and my neighborhood. And I got so into it because I started remembering all these stuff and I got into so much detail that literally I couldn't finish in 3 episodes. And now I'm doing episode 4 out of these mini series, and I have a few more teachers to go through. And the series have generated a big audience so far. Like one of the most viewed episode was the previous episode where I go into full details about all my teachers, their teaching methods and how crazy they were, what type of nonsense we had to do in class, and all the deals that I cut with them in order for me to barely pass the class because I was a very bad student. The first episode I described my neighborhood, poor 90's Bulgarian neighborhood, and we had jail. We had the jail, and a few of the worst schools in the country were in my neighborhood. And in the second episode, I talked about, if you're like a new student in the school, the initiation rituals, how they beat you up and that type of stuff. And I got jumped in class as well. And the third episode, like I mentioned, I talk about the teachers. Thank you so much if you've seen some of the episodes. If you haven't, go back and watch them. They are very, very fun and interesting, and it's gonna give you like a little glimpse into the, because I think if you're especially somewhere in the West, and you probably always seen those documentaries about communism and post-communist societies, I think it's going to be very interesting for you to see how things really were and how things operated in the 90s in Bulgaria and all that type of stuff. So today I'm going to finish off. I have, I think, about 5-6 more teachers because I have a total list of about 10 or 11, and in the future I'll do more episodes because people are liking them. I'll do more episodes where I talk about teenage year stories and kids stories. I have a lot of them, what I'm saying? Just make sure, if you haven't subscribed, I have to say this because, just subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I also started doing movie reviews every Friday because, we're on lockdown currently, and I bring, I post me doing stand-up across the UK and all that type of stuff from before the lockdown. Okay, anyway, let's go. Let's get back into it, okay? So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about a few teachers and, the story so far if you watch the 3 episodes. So, today, we're going to start off with my physics teacher, okay? So, in my school, like I said, from the 5th to the 12th grade, the big school, you started learning chemistry and physics from the 8th grade onwards, I think, or the 9th grade, I'm not sure. Anyway, I was an absolute failure at physics. Until this day, I don't know anything. I think the Newton law of physics, or whatever the hell it's called, like I don't know anything. Like there's like these formulas and there's like these experiments and there's like they teach you about wind and how a plane flies and all that stuff, and I don't know anything, right? And physics is very boring and it's very stupid. I know the show Big Bang Theory, they kind of made it a bit hip for a few years and popular, and I've met people who are really into that type of stuff, but it's not for me. It's very boring, okay? I'm a nerd, but I'm the cool type of nerd, okay? I like cool stuff. I don't like physics and science. That is lame. That is lame nerd type of stuff. Okay, and if you're into that stuff, I am not even sorry because it's very bad. Okay, physics. Now, my physics teacher, we had only 2. Okay, we had in the whole school we had only 2 physics teachers. One of them was she never actually taught us. Okay, we only heard about her, and like there was legends in the school that she was vicious, like she was super strict, brutal, like she didn't mess about. Okay, and the other one, in the Pokemons, and they kind of looked alike as well. In the Pokemons, they have the evolution of the Pokemon. So there's usually 3 stages of a Pokemon. You have the little one, which is like the baby. It doesn't have so many powers. It looks more, not as threatening, and it's usually smaller. Then you have the medium version, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a bit of a fancier name. And then you have the final version, the final boss, which is like this really big Pokemon, and it has all the weapons, and it's scary, and it's massive, and it's very hard to defeat. Okay? So our physics teachers were kind of like that, you know what I mean? Like, our teacher was supposed to be the mid-level Pokemon, and the one that we never got to experience, thank God, was the boss, boss level. And she was kind of big and stocky, like... Listen, I know a lot of people have this idea about Eastern European women, that they're all like supermodels, and they're all like very slim and very feminine and all that stuff, and very like kind of, I want to say small, but like kind of short or whatever. Mate, trust me on that. That's not true at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some big mamas up in there. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I'm telling you, there's some big mamas in Eastern Europe. And all my high school teachers, because they were like these. They used to teach during the communist era or whatever. And I don't think body shaming was a big thing back then, even though I don't know. But they didn't look. You know what I mean? They're not like good looking, or when you hear, an old porn ruined everything, when you hear teacher and you think about all these sexy teachers or whatever. But no, they are like strong lumberjack women, you know what I mean? Like, they don't mess about, mate. So our teacher, I'm not going to mention the name, I still remember her surname. But she was crazy strict, okay? And I remember the first time we went to her, the first class we ever had with her, she said to us, listen to me, I know that your class, you have the reputation of, being the bad boys, the bad girls, and, you bring all the other teachers to tears. I don't play that. She literally said, I don't play that. And we were like, what the hell? She was like Denzel Washington, you know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know, Training Day or whatever, like one of those action movies. Those characters who don't take crap from anybody, they're like, I run shit, I'm Judge Dredd, and I'm the law, and I do whatever the hell I want. I'm the Punisher or whatever, you know what I mean? And she said to us, you will learn physics. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you're interested. I don't even care when you finish high school if you never use it. You will learn physics. And we were literally like, because nobody has ever been that way with us. Our class was such a mayhem class that we did literally whatever we want. So she was like so strict, and she said, and I know how I'm going to make you. If you don't want to learn it, I will force you to learn it. So what she did, which is insane, I don't even know if that's legal. Like, I don't even know if she's allowed to do that. So we have these formulas. So every class, you learn like a new formula or whatever of a certain physics law, or like I don't know, physics equation. I don't even know how they're called. So what she did, she gave us homework right at the end of the class, and she said, so this is the formula, right? The Newton law of physics or whatever, right? So the next class, you know how it goes. You go to the class, you sit down, and she picks, I don't know, 2 people or whatever that class, and they need to say, what is the law? What did we learn the previous class, and all that type of stuff. This is how things work. I don't know here in the West how it works, right? She said, before you come to class, a few minutes before the class, there is like a queue in front of the room, and she's on the door like a bouncer, and she asks you, what is the law, or what is the formula, right? And if you cannot tell her the formula, you do not go inside the class. And if you cannot, tell her the formula, you receive an absent, from on the book or whatever. And if you get like 3 absents from a class, you get a F, a failure, you know what I mean? So it's really bad. And you're not supposed to be absent, and people, usually sometimes teacher, they'll call you family, or, you know what I mean? It's not a good thing. And, skipping class is not that, I mean, it's very difficult now. It used to be a bit different back in the day, but you need to plan how to skip a class. You cannot just skip a class, right? She was the only teacher, mate. So you can see, like, everybody's going inside their class, all the other teachers or whatever, they're getting the kids in, so they start the class. There's a queue of people in front of her door, and we used to recite formulas. We used to recite, pretty much the homework. You know what I mean? And she's not that's insane, but it actually worked, because even the most bad boys, bad girls, or whatever, they actually learned. They actually had to sit down and read. And this was the only class I remember that we sat down and actually read for it. You know what I mean? Because there were a few girls and a few guys, the bad boys, bad girls, they didn't even show up to class. They just skipped class. They went to the local coffee shop and smoked cigarettes and, ooh, look at us, we're so bad, and drink coffee. Everybody showed up. That was the only class throughout the year. Every single time the class was full. There were people who were literally like skipping class like for the whole week or the whole day. I used to do that when I was in the 12th grade, and I'll tell you how in another episode. They will show up. They will literally, they're like, I'm not going to school for the next 3 days. They're not even sick. They're just skipping class or whatever. They get like a fake note. They will come over just for that class from their house, just do the class and leave again for 3 days. That's how strict she was, because she said, if you have 3 absence in my class, I don't care what is the reason, unless you're literally dying on a bed, you know what I mean, you're so sick, and I get a phone call from your parents or doctor or whatever. If you get 3 absence, you fail, and you fail for the whole semester. I don't care. So if you don't show up 3 times in my class, I will fail you, and that's it. And I don't even know if there's no way that was, I wouldn't say illegal, but there's no way she was allowed to do that. I mean, who the hell can do that? It was crazy. And we were there all the time, and she was so strict. Oh my God, we were all terrified, honestly. And we had pop-up tests, so like in the American movies, I've seen it many times, but we don't have that in Bulgaria. So she just walks in, right? And we sit down and we think we're going to have a class, and she was like, you know what? Pop-up test, 40 minutes. And she literally pull out a piece of paper, and she gives maybe like 3 equations on the map, on the board, and she gives you maybe like 2 theories and 1, because sometimes we had to learn about a bit of history about physicians, which was kind of not physicians, physicists, which was kind of weird. You kind of learn like I don't know what they've discovered, a bit of their personal life and how they lived. So it may be like one, a bit of biography or whatever, one physicist. And she's like, you have 40 minutes, go. And we were like, what? Sorry, what? You know what I mean? And sometimes you literally walk, and sometimes you walk into the class and that's already on the board. And you're like, oh God. So it's going to be a pop-up test. I was like, I barely passed all her classes, but I was sitting out. I was such a teacher's pet, because I knew I didn't have the skills. I was dumb. I was lazy, and I was very lazy in school. I didn't care about school, so I didn't have the ambition and the smarts to get good grades. So I knew that I had to cut deals. I had to be nice to them. I had to, sweet talk them or make them laugh, or I don't know, not, behave well in the class, and they'll pass me, because most of the class was so bad, they were talking disruptive, that teachers got so frustrated. So I kind of cut the deals with them, you know what I'm saying? Even since I was a kid, I was cutting deals, you know what I mean? And so yeah, she was so strict, and it was a nightmare. Yeah, so I barely passed. So yeah, this was her, and I have a few more. I can talk more about her, but I have a few more. So yeah, this was my physics teacher. She was so strict. Now we have my gym teacher. So we have a few gym teachers. Okay, I had 3 gym teachers from the 5th to the 12th grade. From 5th and 6th grade was the 5th and the 6th grade, I think it was my gym teacher from the small school, because I think she was doing like working at both places, because there was not that much work, I think. And on the 12th grade, it was her again. And then 11th and 10th grade, there was like it was a woman again. She was like was it like a volleyball player or something? She was like she was running athlete. But those are not, because they were actually mentally stable, you know what I mean? Those were actually good teachers, and you know what I mean? There's nothing interesting about them. I'm gonna tell you about the guy, my male teacher. He was absolutely insane. So we had this guy from fifth, sixth, so seventh, eighth, ninth, maybe 3 years, I think maybe 2-3 years. This guy, he was 64 years old. I'll never forget that. He was 64 years, and to be honest with you, this was like, 15, 16 years ago, so he will be 65, 80 years old, so he is probably 79 or 80 years old now. To be honest with you, he's probably still alive, okay? And this guy is probably still kicking, is still slinging dick, and he doesn't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? That was the craziest guy ever, okay? So he was 64, and I wouldn't say he was jacked, but he was there was a spring and a step. There's a pep and a step, you know what I mean? Like, he was, like, when he walked, you know what I mean? He's not like one of those 65-year-old guys that just gave up on life. There's some guys, especially when they retire, they completely give up on life. Not him, though. That guy was, like, proper, you know what I mean? And he was always wearing a tracksuit, and like a hoodie or whatever. And I remember he was like a drill sergeant. He was crazy strict. And I think it was in the 7th grade. We had gym class. Was the first class was gym class. And when you're a first shift only school and you start at 6:30, the last thing on the planet you want to do is play, I don't know, basketball, volleyball, or run or whatever. It's 6:30 in the morning on a Tuesday or a Monday or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you're half asleep, you're barely there, right? So this guy, I don't know why, but he insisted that we have our gym classes outside. During the summer, during the winter, it's so cold in Bulgaria. It gets literally minus 15 degrees, and there's snow, and it's super dark in the morning. And I remember this guy was getting us out, and he will write you as an absent if you didn't have tracksuit, like the full tracksuit and sneakers and all that type of stuff. Because some teachers, gym class, nobody took gym class seriously, especially when you became like the 9th, 10th, 11th grade. So people would just go with some jeans or some jackets or whatever, and I don't know, they just play basketball for 5 minutes and then just sit on the bench and just, talk to each other or whatever. But this guy used to get very, very mad. So what happened was, I remember he used to get us out, and we were like 7th, 8th grade or whatever, 6:30 in the morning, mate, with fucking short. This guy was wearing short shorts, minus 10 degrees. He didn't care, and a t-shirt and a whistle, and like he had the big, like the socks, the long socks and trainers or whatever. And he used to make us do laps around the school in the morning, and we freezing cold. And he used to get, we're doing that jumping jacks and stuff, and you see all the people, like walking past, the school or whatever, just civilian people, not in the school. Everybody, somebody's coming back from a party, because especially if it's like Monday or whatever, somebody's coming back from a party, or some girl who's been very naughty is doing like the walk of shame, or some people are going early to work, or, you know what I mean? And we're out there doing jumping jacks, and he always used to play like music. He used to play all type of like rock music and Bulgarian music and pop music, just to get us in the zone. So we're just out there doing jumping jacks, listening to AC/DC, Metallica, whatever. We're in the 7th grade. I'm tiny. I'm 4'11". Like I told you, I'm 4'11" at that point. I'm tiny. I have like a big hair, big massive head. I still have a big head. Right? But this guy one day, this guy was flirting so much with everybody, bro. With all the teachers and all the the girls that were like 12th grade. They were like 18, 19, 20 or whatever. Because if you repeated the year, we literally had people. We had a guy, I don't know if it was in our class or the class next door. We were like in the 5th grade, and the guy was like supposed to be in the 7th or the 8th. Like the guy was like, I don't know, so we were in the 7th grade. That's like 4. The guy was 16. You know what I mean? Like 16, 17. We're like 14 because that guy repeated class 3 times or whatever. And that guy used to have this little office next to the gym, and there was always some teachers or some girls, like some women, like 20-something-year-old women, not from the school. They just popped out of nowhere, because you kind of know when you go to school, you kind of know who's who at this point. And one time I remember we found some, a used condom in his little room, because sometimes when he's outside to the gym or whatever, he used to have some, let's say, some volleyball, some basketball, some medicine balls, maybe some workout equipment in his little office. And sometimes he says, if you're like, oh, coach, because I don't know how we used to refer. We didn't say teacher or whatever. We used to call him something different. And sometimes he says, oh, just go to my office. There's some balls, some basketballs. Just go to the office. And one time I remember me and one of my mates, we walked in and there was like a used condom like on the floor. And we're like, oh my God, we're giggling. We're like on the 7th grade. We barely know what that is. We're like, oh my God. I don't know what the hell that guy was doing, bro. Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah, but I think he had an affair. With a teacher that was like because there was like a few gym teachers. So there was one that we never got to. She was never with us. We've only seen her, and maybe she's her mid-30s, but very, like good-looking woman, taking care of herself all her life. And I think they had an affair, because that guy was always like, he was so mean to us, but he was so nice to her. Oh, one time I remember. So we had the first semester, we played volleyball, and the second semester we played basketball, right? And he's an old guy, and we had two guys in our class. This was in the 8th grade, and they were like so annoying. They were like the jocks or whatever, and they thought that they are like like the best people. They had the best at everything, the smartest, the funniest, the most handsome, the best at sports. That attitude, such idiots. And I remember one time, he was playing basketball, whatever, like that, one of those two guys that think that they're the shit. And they were saying, the coach, the gym teacher, he was like, you need to shoot like this, you need to improve this, to improve the technique. And they said, bah, what do you know, blah 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 blah, I'm the best, blah blah blah. And the teacher said, are you sure about that? And by the way, the whole class is there. And that guy was like, yeah, I mean, come on, what, you want to play? And he was like, yeah, we can play. But super, like, just confident and just relaxed. He's 64, okay? That other guy's like 16 or whatever. And he's like a big, strong guy, like, I wouldn't say him as prime, because, when you hit your 20s, you're in your prime. But just testosterone, you know what I mean? Just like, and he had like a beard, like I wouldn't say a beard, but he had like facial hair and stuff. We didn't have facial hair. Nobody else had facial hair in the class, and like deep voice and stuff. And he was like, oh, I'll destroy you, the cocky guy. And my teacher said, let's play one-on-one. If I beat you, I fail you this semester. You get a 0, a 2. If you beat me, you get an A. And you don't have to, like the whole semester, you don't have to go to the class, and I'll put like you've been. You get an A straight away. You don't have to go into the class. And this is at the beginning of the second semester. Now the first semester, because he was a good athlete, I think he got an A. So even if he failed, that you combine, this is how we get the final result. You combine the grade from the first and the second semester, and this is how you get the last one, right? So even if he failed, he'll get a 4, which is a medium, whatever. And he said, yeah, okay, let's play. And so the teacher literally stopped everybody. And he said, can you please, people are playing, whatever, they're chasing each other. Stop and just have a look, and we're going to play one-on-one. Mate, that guy, the cocky guy, didn't even get a point. That gym teacher destroyed the guy, like literally. And he was maybe 5'7", 5'8", something like that. And like a very lean guy in shape. Lean guy, wasn't like massive or whatever. And the cocky guy was a little bit shorter, but still a big guy or whatever. And bro, fucking shots and whatever. He's 64, mate, like that guy. And it turns out then, he mentioned this before, but I think nobody paid attention. He used to be a basketball player, like a professional basketball player back in the day. He played for a team, and he destroyed him. And I remember we had one time, I'm finishing off with this and then I'm moving to the next teacher. We had gymnastics, was one of the semesters. And I remember we used to do this thing, vote pole or whatever, the two, I don't know, no idea, I don't even know in Bulgarian what's the name. You have the two wooden poles or whatever, and you start swinging out and about, and when we were kids, we were like in the 6th, 7th grade, 8th grade or whatever again, and we were like kind of scared, and it was very high and stuff, and we were short, especially me, and we were kind of scared to do it. He jumped and showed us how to do it. So he's doing fucking flips and up and down and jumping up and 64. You know what I mean? Like just let that settle in. You know what I mean? I don't know gym teachers in this country. I'm not sure how the gym teachers in this country are, but you know what I mean. It's crazy. Okay, so enough with the gym teacher. I need to move on. Geography teacher. So he was a guy. Is a very quick story. So he was an older guy, and he was married to. I think he was married to the physics teacher. Remember that one that I told you, the big Pokemon that everybody hated and was scared. So he was married to her, I think, and he was a player, bro. He was an old guy again. He was in the 60s, but he was like one of those guys that really look after themselves. You know what I mean? Like always dressing up and always smelling fresh and cologne and that type of stuff. And I think I was having an affair with like a 20-something-year-old maybe, or with a university student, because there was always like these women popping up. And I remember when like the 12th grade, when we got a bit older, because I think he was our geography teacher to the end. Yeah, and he was, I don't know, man, he was suspicious. He was a suspicious old bloke, you know what I mean? I think he had an affair with somebody, but I don't know who. But definitely one of the other teachers, because it was so funny, because his wife was not attractive at all. She was like very short and stocky and very mean, and always like bitching and complaining. He was like a chill dude, he just want to get his dick sucked, you know what I'm saying? He's just one of those. Have you ever met one of those dudes who just want to get laid and that's it? But they're chill about it. They're not like creeps or whatever. You just chill. You just want to get his dick sucked. You know what I'm saying? So the guy's just chilling, and I remember like there was always, I think I remember, yeah, maybe another geography teacher. He was having an affair or whatever, and whenever she's into the class, they're always when they see each other in the corridor or whatever, they're always like, oh, yeah, she's like touching his arm and like, oh, I didn't, blah, blah. And when you see his wife, because they work together, so they see each other all the time. So when she pops out of nowhere and comes, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, no problem, no problem. And his wife like, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And she is always nagging him. But yeah, he loved like the young women around him and like that creep, bro. Now when I think about it, because when you're in the 7th grade, you don't really see it that way. But now when I think about it, Jesus Christ, everybody was a creep in my school, like all the teachers and stuff. The guys, you know what I mean? The women, not that much because they were all old ladies, but those guys, man, they're like creepy old men. You know what I'm saying? Okay. English teacher. Okay, we had 2 English teachers I'm going to talk about. So, my first English teacher from the 5th to the 7th grade was actually a teacher who thought she was in the school, so she was maybe about 60, 55, 60. She was literally in the school for 25 years. And she thought my mom, my aunt, and my 2 aunts, right? Because they went to the same school as I went, so she all knew them, she remembered them, and they were a bit of nerds, and they were all like, my mom not so much. She kind of like, she was a bit of a failure in school like me, but my 2 aunts, they're nerds, so they had like all the good grades, and they always wrote down everything, and they always have their hand up and like, oh yeah, I want to talk about this, whatever, not my mom. And but my so the teacher, she had very fond memories, so when she found out that I'm the son, and the how do you call it, the nephew of my aunt or whatever, she was very happy. Oh, I cannot wait to see him, blah 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 blah. And once she saw me, what disaster, a train wreck I was, because I was very bad in school, and I was not paying attention or whatever. I knew English, but I was just bored. I don't want to be in class, you know what I mean? And the funny thing is, because she taught Russian, for maybe 25 years or whatever, and she literally started teaching, no, for let's say 15 years, let's be realistic, I think, yeah. And she started teaching English the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or whatever. And she literally was learning English with us because she didn't know English. So she literally have to open the book, and like the way she read and the way she taught English, it was hilarious because she barely knew it. She can barely read English. So she literally learned the stuff as we go, And but I think 2 years later we started, because the English got a bit more complicated, so she was teaching only 5th and the 6th grade, the easy stuff. because she didn't know anymore. And then we started getting like, oh my god, so many English teachers, and they were always the same prototype. Very relatively young woman, 25 to 35, very educated, because very educated, very open-minded, and very like a nice personality. Because like to learn the thing is, if you learn a second language, that really changes you. I know it sounds weird, but just, and if you can think and if you can express yourself in a different language, it changes you. Like when I talk and when I speak Bulgarian, I wouldn't say I'm completely different, but I am a different person when I speak English. So it really, I wouldn't say humbles you, but I don't know, it's weird. It's weird when you start to think in a different language and you kind of see how other people express themselves, because like language, the way you express yourself is very much so connected to the language you speak, I think, because some languages are very authoritarian. They're very like pa 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 pa, they're very straightforward. Like they don't have a chill mode. Let's just put it that way. I'm sure they have some poems and stuff like that sound beautiful in that language. But let's say German. German doesn't have a chill mode. You know what I mean? I'm sure that they have some. You can express yourself how much you care about somebody in German, but they don't have that chill vibe. While you have languages like Spanish and Italian and French, they're a bit more like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Like. Forget about it. Hey, that is great. You look so beautiful. That type of stuff, that type of vibe. So, and yeah, when you can speak a different language, it really helps out. Anyway, so all the women, all the teachers, they were just nice, and they come and they are young and they all have that aspiration to become teachers, because all the old ones that we had for 30 years, they've been doing this for so long that they cannot, retrain and find another job. So they're just there. They have the connections, they have the authority, whatever. So they just stay there. And you don't really know if they really want to teach after such a long time. But the young teachers, they always come inside and they come inside and they were like, oh my god, I want to teach, I want to teach these kids, and blah, 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 blah. And we drove them to tears every single time because we were little shitbags, you know what I mean? They literally to tears. And our class behaved so badly towards those poor women. I feel really sorry for them. I didn't contribute because I didn't care. I didn't pay attention. I only stood on the first row of chemistry, mathematics, and physics because I knew that I am shite at those classes and I need to cut deals. But classes like geography, history, I stood at the back because I'm good at them, so I don't have to cut deals. I actually made good grades by myself. And what is it? What's the other one? English, yeah, as well. I didn't care. But so I kind of stood at the back and I kind of draw and just think about stuff. I didn't care, but the other people were very mean to them. Anyway, after literally we've gotten like every few weeks there was a new teacher and coming from other schools and they leave in tears. And I think the principal found out, and she literally, like, I don't know, like in the Power Rangers or like one of those kid shows or whatever nerd shows that I used to watch back in the day, how you have the villain, but the villain assembles like a bad guy for the episode to fight the good guys. And I think the principal just got enough of us because she was like, oh my god, like all the people I throw at them, they destroy them. So she assembled this absolutely crazy woman. Okay, so one day, right, they tell us you have a new English teacher, and we're again, this is gonna be fun, we're gonna make fun of her, blah 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 blah. And one day the door opens and walks in this smoke show. Okay, we are maybe in the 10th grade now, so you're at the age, how much is that, like 16? And bro, hormones are killing you. It's insane, you know what I mean? You're 16 now, because when you're in the 6th grade you don't know what's happening, but 16 now. And like she was hot, you know what I mean? Like she was probably the hottest teacher we ever had. She's probably 27, but when you're 16, 27-year-old, my god, that is a woman, you know what I mean? Now I'm 31, 27, it's okay. I mean, my girlfriend is 27, that's normal, but if I look at a 25-year-old, I was like, that's too young for me, innit? But when you're 16, right? So she walks in like good looking, bro, good looking. I remember she had like long dark hair, I think a bit curly, I don't remember, and like very pale face. She kind of looked like Morticia Adams, you know what I mean, like that type of. And like she was lean and skinny, but still shaped. You know what I mean? And we were all literally, whoa, what the hell? Because the previous women, they were young, but they were like nice, and they're kind of like these, I don't know, like suburban moms or whatever. They were like V-necks and like shirts, and you know what I mean. They were not like sexy or whatever. We didn't look at them that way, but she wore like some pants and some stuff, everything, pom 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 pom, and we're just like this, like, whoa, dude, what is that? Like, look at that. And literally somebody like, that I cannot whistle, but whistling, hey, like catcalling the teacher. That's how fucking wild our class was. So I will never forget this. So in Bulgaria we have this thing called the dnevnik, which is roughly translated as diary. So it's like literally a big book, this big, where inside you have all the details of all the people in that class. You have the absent, who is absent. You have, if you test somebody and you're going to write down a grade, you write down the grade there. So it's the official book, and you have one person responsible for that book, and it's very, very important, and at the end of the day, so the person carries the book with them, the person from the class, to every classroom, and the teacher gets the book, opens it, and he's like, okay, number 1, Vladimir, are you here? Ivan, are you here? Whatever, and then puts down the grades. So I remember she walked in with the book, because she took it from our principal or whatever, I don't know. She walked in with the book and just holding the book here, and she's just walking. Mate, it was like a movie. She didn't say a single word. She didn't even look at us. She was just walking slowly with high heels. Pum, 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 pum. And we were like, oh my God, baby, you're so sexy. Like the guys at the back. Wow, yeah, mama, whatever. And she just turned around and she just looked at us. Just looking at us. And she took the book, and I'll never forget this. And as we were like, hey, whoa, she took the book, and at the desk, she slammed the book so freaking hard, like a wrestler slamming another wrestler with a steel chair out of nowhere. Wham! Just slam it, and like like a shockwave throughout the room, and we're just like, what the fuck? And she said, and she slammed it again, bah! And she said, listen to me, you little shits. And we're just like, what? I don't play that shit. And we're just like it was like a movie scene. You know what I mean? I was like, what is? And everybody literally like, what? And she said, if you try anything, if you try to be absent, if you try to play games, if you try to talk while I'm teaching, I will kick your ass. I will fail you so bad that you will be crying. Like fucking Clint Eastwood movie, like a Rambo movie, Terminator, whatever. We're just like, what the hell is happening right now? And she was one of the strictest teachers, and it worked. It worked, mate. It worked. We were going to class, and every time somebody tried something, she kicked people out. She didn't care. Like the minute you're like talking at the back, she's like, hey, slaps at what are you doing? Hey, listen, you think there's nobody here, And he's just like, what? And if you talk, and if you argue with her, what's your number? And he's like, because we all have numbers in the class. Number 15. She looks, come to the and she's gonna test her or whatever, and or if maybe they've been tested, like previously they have enough grades, she's like, okay, get the fuck out of here. And we're just like, what? We're like, you know what I mean? You are still in the 8th grade at the end of the day. I mean, no, 10th grade. I mean, we're not like men, and women. We're still teens, and we pretend to be badass, but we're still kids, you know what I mean? And we're not even that big and strong, especially our class. She's like, get out, and she just fails him, or just because I think like the principal of the school, she had enough with us, so she green lighted all the teachers to literally do whatever they want because they cannot handle us. So she just fails you, or just like kicks you out, or kicks you out for a few classes. She was crazy, but it worked. It actually worked. So this was the only way that you can, and maybe that's how, because this is how I deal with hecklers and crazy crowds at comedy shows. I just tell, listen, I don't play those fucking games, because Oh yeah, you made the previous comedian cry and leave the stage. I don't play that shit, motherfucker. If you want to fight, we gotta fight. That's the only way you have to deal with a crazy crowd. You throw the kitchen sink, and from the first minute, you tell them, I run shit, motherfucker. When I'm on this stage, I run shit. You know what I mean? And she did. She run shit, man. And the last teacher I'm gonna tell you, because I think I'm over time now. Yeah, I'm a little bit over. It's a little bit longer episode. It's okay. The last teacher I'm gonna tell you, and I'm finishing off. It's my music teacher. Hold on. Oh, my last teacher. My last teacher was the music teacher, and she was absolutely insane. So something was wrong with that woman. I don't mean it to make fun of her or to be mean, but something was wrong. I think she was maybe 55, 52, but she wasn't like the porn 50 whatever, like, oh my god, I'm male for, porn ruined everything, let's be honest. I mean, isn't it allowed for a 50-year-old women now cannot look like 50-year-old women? They all have this like crazy expectations and stuff, you know what I mean? So anyway, so she was so crazy, mate, honestly. Like, she was 55, and she used to dress in like these crazy teenager clothes, and she was out of shape, and she had like she kind of like fluffy hair, like curlers or whatever. It was orange, like spray paint, and like orange. And she was crazy. She had like these platform like moon shoes. They were literally this big. And I don't know, man, she was crazy, and her class was wild, and she had a piano and singing, and when we used to sing all together. I always used to sing different words on purpose. So she gave us the text, and we all know the text and the words, and I used to sing completely different stuff, because when 30 people sing at once, you don't like, and then we went to the ice cream shop, we got into a fist fight with some prostitutes. Then the hooker pulled a knife on me. I said to her, hooker, no. You know what I mean? Just making, as long as it in the same, tone, beat or whatever with the music. And it was so much fun, because I've never sang an actual song. It's just all these made up songs about, I don't know, Batman and prostitutes and like the music that I listen to or whatever. So I was it was really fun. But if everybody stopped all of a sudden singing and you're the only one person singing, we'll be in so much trouble. Yeah, but that's it. She had the crazy shoes and crazy outfits and like really low top cut, like how do you call it, like blouses and whatever. And she out there with her saggy tits and shit. No, no offense to people with saggy tits. A tit is a tit. Doesn't matter. We don't discriminate. But yeah, but it was just weird. You're not supposed to. I don't know. It was inappropriate. It was weird, and she was bizarre. Okay, that's it. Now I need to go. I hope that you enjoyed this extra long episode, a little bit longer episode. The saga is finished. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. 4 episodes, something that was supposed to be 10 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you next week, and I'll have more stuff prepared for next episodes, and I'll have more stories. Next episode, I'll probably tell you I had a crazy comedy gig recently in the Leeds area, so I'll tell you about that, and I'll do a few more stuff, and I'll tell you more stories about my life and childhood in 10 years in the future. Okay, enjoy the rest of your week, guys. See you next week. Bye! Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun.